The Snowballer is one of the 2 new event towers in the TDS Winter event and is obtained by beating the Frost Spirit in easy mode. You can also purchase it in the shop for 249 Robux. So in this video, I'll be going over the stats, values, and uses of this tower, then give my personal ranking of how good it is. But before we start, make sure to check out my Christmas Corso plushie on makeshift.com. It's only going to be around for another week, and the first 200 supporters will get an exclusive role in my Discord. I absolutely love how its design turned out, and it's definitely not evil. There's a link to buy it in the description, and thanks to Makeshift for making this possible. Anyways, let's get back to the video. It costs 300 cash to place, meaning you can get 2 of them before the first wave. It attacks by throwing snowballs at enemies, having a pretty slow fire rate and decent range. These snowballs deal splash damage and slow down enemies, eventually freezing them at max level. It has no placement limit, meaning you can get as many as you want. At level 0, it deals 4 splash damage, has a fire rate of 3.008, 12 range, 15% slowdown per hit, 30% max slowdown, and a DPS of 1.33. At level 1, for a total of 450 cash, it deals 4 splash damage, has a fire rate of 2.508, 12 range, 20% slowdown per hit, 40% max slowdown, and a DPS of 1.59. At level 2, for a total of 1,100 cash, it deals 8 splash damage, has a fire rate of 2.508, 14 range, 30% slowdown per hit, 60% max slowdown, and 3.19 DPS. At level 3, for a total of 3,600 cash, it deals 15 splash damage, has a fire rate of 2.008, 18 range, 30% slowdown per hit, 60% max slowdown, freezes enemies for 2 seconds, and deals 7.47 DPS. And unfortunately, that's the max level for this tower. It's now the second tower in TDS to have only 3 levels, with the first one to do it being the Holopunk. Now that we've gone over the stats, let's see if it's actually any good. At level 0, it has a value of 4.43 DPS per 1k spent, which is pretty mid. Despite the fact you can get 2 of them on the first wave, I would not recommend doing so. They can only defend until wave 2 in follow mode, which is really bad, so we cannot consider this an early game tower. But let's take a look at how it performs at max level. It only deals 7.47 DPS, which other than something like the farm, is the new lowest max DPS in the game. For a total of 3,600 cash, that's a DPS cost ratio of 2.08, which is terrible. So not only does this tower basically tickle enemies, it does it for a bad price. But what about its stalling? Maybe that's good? Well, even though it can freeze enemies, it only does that once they reach the max slowness. And unfortunately, the slow cooldown is so short that one max snowballer by itself cannot freeze any enemies. You need to get at least 2 for it to even start freezing things at all. The only redeeming quality this tower has is the fact that it deals splash damage, so it can stall multiple enemies. But this splash radius is super small, so at most you're affecting 2 enemies if they're right on top of each other. Usually, this tower is going to act like a single target attacker, and to make things worse, it has no forms of detection. It can't see hidden, flying, or lead enemies. So this tower sucks in the early game, sucks in the mid to late game because it deals hardly any DPS, has horrific value, and is terrible at stalling. I would arguably say this tower is completely useless, and I'm going to rank it as an F tier. I cannot think of a single situation where this tower would actually be a good choice. It's essentially just a significantly worse version of the freezer. Oh, but Corso blocks, it can hit multiple enemies. If you want to stall crowds, use the Cryomancer, which can hit significantly more enemies and stalls them infinitely better. Unfortunately, I think this tower was just made to be a crappy reward for beating easy mode. Definitely do not buy it for any Robux, and honestly, just consider it a collectible. Anyways, that's it for this video. Pretty short one because this tower just sucks, so there isn't much to talk about, but I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments below how you feel about this tower and whether or not you agree with my ranking. Hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.